her previous stop, of course, over at West Virginia.
I think anytime that you can have that consistent fan base in any sport, but specifically volleyball, just really fires up the girls. It raises their level of play, and that's something that the Farrell Center's been working towards this season, as you mentioned.
Third straight year, Ryan McGuire has had 10 or more wins within conference play in Big 12 competition. He is 6-3 as a head coach of Baylor against TCU. Alon McCall goes just wide. She's going to be a lot of fun to watch, though. You'll see her get down for digs, and a moment later they're setting her for the kill.
Absolutely. I think it's such a threat when you have an outside hitter that when she was down and injured a little bit, she's able to put on that libero jersey and have that consistency in her defensive game.
I'll go back to McCall, a true 6 rotation player now that she's healthy again. Baylor will level it. And the ultimate equalizer there right in the middle of the net in Shelby Stafford. Shelly comes through with the first strike. I mentioned she already got that 1 ring this past year.
Yeah, she wouldn't mind 1 more.
Maybe 2.
Yeah, we'll give her 2.
Back to McCall on the left pin. She'll dial it down. Presley gets under it. We talk about you can focus on number 22 all you want, but she's got a lot of friends up at the net.
You can. That's the key of this Baylor offense, that you can only block so many people at once. So the fact that you can put a double block on Yalciana Presley and leave Shelly Stafford open, that's going to cause trouble for people.
Off the Baylor block into the pin, and it's the first point for TCU. That serve belongs to Katie Clark. Another look. Taking advantage was Clark of the aggressiveness of Baylor up front. Of course, Katie Clark this past year, the first TCU player to be on the U.S. Junior Women's National Team. And it's not fair when you can pick different speeds.
Shelly Stafford is a hard hitter, but she's a smart hitter. She doesn't always just take full swing. She does a good job of reading the court and putting some spice on it as well.
So serve here from Shelly Stafford. See if they go back to McCall. No, instead they'll go to Myung. Now to the sophomore, but access denied up front. McGee and Vandermark patrolling the net.
Karen McGee currently number 3 in the Big 12 with 1.27 blocks per set. Just a freshman and just making an impact on this Baylor program so quickly in her career.
Short serve, dump effort there from Mackenzie Nichols. And there's a vulnerability right now, right in the heart of TCU.
It is. I think it's depending on the way that the defense is run. Right now, TCU is doing more of a perimeter defense, which does leave that big donut, if you will, that big circle in the middle of the court open.
For the Horned Frogs, there is no tomorrow. This their final matchup of the season, trailing by 5 early on.
Oh, baby, come on and say it now. Just let the words come out. Give me love.
No calories, no sweeteners, all smiles. Bubbly sparkling water. Crack a smile.
At Baylor, our lights shine
while we push our limits
and guide the way.
At Baylor, our lights shine as we're making connections
and making an impression.
As leaders.
And as part of something bigger.
Baylor's light shines around the world, but it starts in each of us. Baylor, where lights shine bright.
The 2019 RAV4.
Don't forget the carabiners.
Copy that.
With loads of cargo space.
Carabiners. How deep do you think this water is?
You find them?
Probably. What are those things?
Geese.
And the latest tech.
We still on for spelunking tomorrow?
For sure. I love that.
Bye.
Bye.
The 2019 Toyota RAV4. For a more adventurous you. Toyota, let's go places.
Oh, baby, come on and say it now. Just let the words come out. Give me love.
No calories, no sweeteners, all smiles. Bubbly sparkling water. Crack a smile.
Our live coverage continues here on Big 12 Now. Great to have you with us inside the Farrell Center. Baylor back to #1 in the nation. But we talked about the youth for TCU, and a big part of that, literally, is Afedo Mignon, the 6'3" middle blocker out of Fort Worth, who's able to respond out of Jill Kramer's timeout as TCU back within 4. Baylor so far has 4 kills on 4 attacks, batting 1,000. And the call is long, no touch.
A lot of consistency early on in this game from Baylor, and I think that just goes to show the mindset coming into this game. They know what's on the line, they know what they're playing for, and they're starting off playing a really clean game of volleyball.
And you understand why McCall would adjust her swing there with the 6'6" Vandermark. Now Vandermark was going to be happy to serve, but she'll rotate off instead for Brea Hunt. And down the middle, able to put away. This was a TCU team that truly put up a great fight in that 4th set against Oklahoma in front of 2,500 of their fans in that standing room only venue.
That last kill from Ashley Waggle, one of the 2 seniors on the TCU side being honored tonight.
Baylor with a rare error here early on. So Alon McCall last year as a freshman, first team all Big 12. This year was a unanimous preseason all-conference selection. Again, injury through non-conference certainly hampered it.
We talk about Hannah Locken's ability to find her hitters, and such quick connection she has with the freshman Karen McGee.
They'll get the attack on Mignon after really an overpass from TCU made things a little too tight at the net. Presley continues with her serve. To the left side, tapped over by Julia Adams. Baylor with the response. We'll go back to Adams on the left pin. A nice rally developing here. TCU down by 5. It was the right idea, and they are going to see that ball just drops in.
Hannah Locken leads the Big 12 in assists, but also is the most efficient setter in terms of attacks. Does a great job of seeing that back line and mixing in shots to get kills of her own.
Well, as much as we talk about the big swingers for Baylor, it wouldn't be possible without that quarterback. And the great job that Locken has done this year. You see Tara Wolf, your libero, so dedicated to this, her senior campaign. Serve from her counterpart, Dennison. That serve carries over. Gia Milana. And the block up front from Katie Clark. Horned Frogs battling back here. Clark coming off a 4-block performance against Oklahoma. 9 straight matches with 3 or more rejections at the net. And Dennison continues her service. Presley denied by Clark and company. Katie Clark hasn't always been your middle blocker. She moved there late October in Lawrence against KU. But what a fit she has proven to be, the 6'3" sophomore.
Very smart game plan to find Yassiana Presley in the back row, a triple blocker from TCU.
And with Yass on the back row, Gia Milana takes things over at the net. Baylor hanging on to a 3-point edge here in this opening frame. Just beyond the outstretched fingertips of Clark. And she was productive on the outside with 21 kills as recently as early October against Tech, but really needed to fill that void in the middle.
And that's an impressive position change to be able to do. I think outside to right side's one thing, but outside to middle, that's a whole nother play call, a whole nother movement. So kudos to Katie Clark.
Julia Adams and Mackenzie Nichols both in the area of that ball. A little miscommunication. Both of them are freshmen, still with some growing pains. They are 2 of the 3 different Horned Frogs who have been Rookie of the Week this year in the Big 12.
That is unique to have so many different freshmen receiving that honor on your team, and exciting for a coach.
Alana, she can pack a punch. Flooring that one.
All starting by that pancake from Tara Wolf.
Oh, as if that feast on Thanksgiving wasn't enough. We've got room for pancakes for the Bears. Right now, up by 6 in this opening frame. Number 1 team in the nation, trying to lock up being the number 1 team in the Big 12.
You know your life won't end when you fail tests and biology. If you fail while doing your best for God's word, you still are him. Fight to see God's will.
So Baylor with the latest AVCA poll returns to the number 1 spot. Of course, they aided their own argument by knocking off the previous number 1 Texas, but think about it, tomorrow night is Selection Sunday.
Baylor just has to take care of Baylor right now, and you can't be thinking about other teams. I do think it is hard to go to Ames, Iowa and play there. So that is not an easy win for Texas later today.
You think about the dominance of the Longhorns this decade since 2010. Only Texas and then that 1 year from Kansas. Those 2 programs have won a Big 12 volleyball title this past decade. Baylor trying to thrust itself into the record books as well. Service from Bella Swafford. Oh, a little self-defense. The freshman gets down, and that ball carries back over. She's your top defensive specialist sub for the Horned Frogs this year. Had a fantastic outing in non-conference against Auburn with 6 digs down the stretch.
Good job putting her body in front of that swing from Shelly Stafford.
And the Bears with an error. We'll see the Horned Frogs pull within 3. Service continues for Swafford. A little deja vu, but this time that ball came back to the Bears and they put it away.
Absolutely, it's funny to watch. Sometimes with a swing as hard as Shelly Stafford's, all you can do really is put your body behind it and hope it comes up.
Volleyball feels like a lot of us who got up early for those Black Friday deals are waiting in line.
Absolutely, I was not one of them, but I have been before.
Presley, this will be a battle at the net. And TCU will get the point on the violation at the net. Tough ball to handle. And a good look there right down the line. Berkeley Baker, not a freshman. The junior out of the Dallas area. One of your 5 Horned Frogs who have been academic all Big 12. Oh, excellent effort from Wolf again, but the Bears just cannot take advantage.
Both sides kind of offering up that middle area of the court. Tara Wolf, we've seen her make some last-minute moves to be able to do a pancake, but an area that both teams are focusing and keying on.
Katie Clark with her 2nd kill officially to go with a pair of blocks early on. As that ball will bite Dennison on the way out.
Gia Milano, one of Baylor's 6 seniors. She transferred from Maryland. This is her 2nd season with the Bears. And has truly just been one of those players that we talked about, that Baylor has so many high-level hitters that it's hard to stop all of them, and she's come up really big for Baylor in a lot of big matches.
Well, we've seen her as she rotates off now, finds success on both pins already today.
Very versatile and just like a diverse player.
Presley looking for an opportunity on that back row. And the Bears do not have an answer for Katie Clark. The whistle on Stafford. Fifth-year senior final home match officially. It is senior day. We anticipate Baylor will have a chance to be right back here this weekend. Top 4 seeds would have the ability to host the first 4 rounds, the first 2 weekends. Now, obviously, you have to keep winning.
Absolutely. I think that in and of itself speaks to just the way that Ryan McGuire has grown this Baylor volleyball program. I remember a time where this could be the last game of the season, and now they're thinking, okay, let's take care of business. Let's hopefully win a Big 12 championship, and let's keep moving towards the tournament.
Vandermark denied. As that's twice at the net on that point alone that the standout freshman Mignon comes through. She came off the bench for 3 blocks against Baylor earlier this year in Fort Worth, hitting .400 that night. Number 2 among all Big 12 freshmen in blocks per set. That time looking for a kill. Afedo Mignon off balance, still such a threat with that right arm.
Exciting to see her having so much success early on in her season, far to find really talented kids.
Every shot we take, Elon McCall's from just north of Austin.
Right.
Out of Rouse High School, where she was a Raider, a great standout. And before that, you saw Bram Schreiber, who was at the powerhouse Lovejoy High School out of the Dallas area. Boy, she can get up in a hurry, can't she?
A lot of heat from Yasiana Presley.
You give her the option of elevator or stairs, and she says, I've got a third option. Bree Coleman with the serve. Mignon. Well, we talk about her as a blocker, but this is a 2-time district offensive player of the year in high school at the 5A level here in Texas.
We're seeing it early on from here as that last kill has her leading TCU in kills. 4 kills, 6 attempts. Just a very efficient hitter, but also defensively, as you mentioned, is getting a lot of blocks and making an impact in that way.
A service miscue from McCall.
Gotta believe it's a little difficult for a TCU to come into an arena like the Farrell Center compared to the smaller feel, packed vibe of their field house. And usually you can see that as most quickly in serving.
So with the service error, and now an ace from Yas. TCU had pulled within 1. Now Baylor here in the critical points, up by 3, needs 5 more to claim this first chapter. Houston area native. Off the tape, and it will not fall in for TCU. Little things going the way of Baylor here down the stretch.
Definitely means a lot more when you're at this last little bit of the game.
The service continues for Presley. McGee. Right up there with Marika Vandermark. Vandermark coming off a career-high 7 blocks against West Virginia. Now, that can be misleading because Baylor hasn't played more than 3 sets very often this year, so when you get into that 4th set and sometimes a 5th set, you get to pile up some stats finally.
Yeah, that is very true that they have had to play quick, short, clean games, and sometimes that does affect stats negatively, sometimes it affects them positively.
No touch, that one long from Mignon. And that means this service run continues for Presley. Of course, Yasiana's number 2 in the nation, averaging 5.6 kills per set. 3rd in the country and almost 6 points per set. They'll go away from Mignon. Over to Knowles. But the Bears have an answer for the former high school All-American. Another one of these talented freshmen for TCU.
A great block by Hannah Locken. A lot of teams, it is a disadvantage when their setter rotates into the front row. And for Baylor, it really isn't. She puts a block up and she gets her blocks every time.
Presley serving here for set point. As Wolf will just send it back over. This is a 6-0 run for Baylor trying to close out this set. McCall. You're going to have to buy a ticket to track that one down. But it is still set point for Baylor. A service error would hand this one over. Devon McCall not cheated on this swing. Love to have a radar gun. Dennison keeps the point alive. Presley.
A lot of hustle defense on this TCU side.
And Knowles will pick up another one. And it is still set point. Baylor with a cushion here in this first frame after your lead was down to just 18-17. Lock into Yas. Baylor takes the first set.
And has been a big part of this one at TCU as well. So seniors who will definitely be missed by the Horned Frogs.
So much success as Lovejoy Leopards. Here you see one of our few non-Texans, but the Des Moines native has made herself right at home in Waco.
She has so much at home that she met her fiance here and is getting married in May. So she just got engaged to Jay Sedgwick, one of the Baylor football players.
Right down the middle of Stafford. Speaking of nuptials. Former Shelley Fanning, married back in May to Samuel.
Shelley has been one of the most decorated athletes for this Baylor volleyball program. Most recently nominated for the COSIDA Senior Class Award. Just award after award for this special student athlete, and so deserving of all of them.
Vandermark with the kill there. Yeah, that Senior Class Award, not just what you do in the classroom and on the court, but also in the community as well. Some of the elite individuals throughout the country in the running for that among the seniors.
Yeah, definitely speaks to the athlete as a whole person as opposed to so many awards that are just on the court or just in the classroom.
TCU just able to get that ball back over, and Vandermark will swing well wide. And Marika Vandermark out of the Netherlands. So much great energy from her, and we go from one ball of energy to another here with McCall. And she grew up about an hour south of here. Presley. And there's McCall again. She doesn't just put punctuation on points. McCall will keep points alive. She can get down to that floor quickly.
Yeah, you're definitely on some of those able to see that libero history come out in her.
As a long serve. Coming off her third double-double in Big 12 play. 16 kills, 17 digs against Oklahoma. Nobody's going to dig that one up.
The angles that Yassiana Presley hits sometimes defy geometry, physics, whatever you want to call it, Lincoln. But her ability to hit that sharp wrist-away shot where she goes, they call it 4-4, but basically is able to put it in front of the 10-foot line on the other side is something very few players have in their arsenal and are able to get at that level.
We'll diagram the sine and the cosine, and if you'll let me go off on a tangent, we'll work that in. Baylor right now up by a pair. Serve here from Bree Coleman. Another look. It's off the mark. Great effort on the serve receive by Dennison to keep this ball playable for her fellow Horned Frogs. Over to Presley on the left pin, down the line. They'll get a touch off TCU.
Extends Bree Coleman behind the service line. It is not rare to see her come in to serve, whether it's early in the match, whether it's a big moment in the match. She gets behind the line and is aggressive, and Coach McGuire loves that.
Presley shuts things down up front when Waggle came calling. As Baylor's lead now up to 4. Timeout, TCU. Falling behind here early in this second frame. Baylor took the first one 25-19. The ball on Big 12 now. Lincoln Rose along with the former All-American Katie Stager. As Baylor took the first frame, Jill Kramer and TCU coming out of their timeout. After 6 of the first 8 points in this second set have gone to the Bears. That's the response you're hoping for coming out of your timeout.
A lot of heat on the right side from Ashley Waggle, one of the seniors honored today.
Waggle also from the Austin area out of Dripping Springs High School. One of a couple of Dripping Springs products we've seen in recent years in the Big 12. Presley denied that time.
Great coverage by Tara Wolf.
Back to Yassiana. The dig from Dennison. Off the touch of the tape, Alon McCall. And Alon earlier this year against Tech with 27 kills, the most by any TCU player in Big 12 competition over the years. McGee thought she had muscled one through, but Horned Frogs keep it alive. McGee with another chance. Brea Hunt with an effort. Baylor just could not take advantage. As your second generation Baylor Bear gets down. A little miscommunication on the opposite end. TCU with a chance to tie it here. Right on cue. That's what I'm talking about. Not only does McCall get down for the dig, then they set her a split second later. Kara McGee. We talk about the youth movement. There's your freshman.
4 blocks already today by Kara McGee.
And Presley flat-footed, a line drive serve, and just can't work its way over the net.
Presley goes for that deep float serve, and a lot of times the further back that you stand, kind of the more shake, the more spin on the ball that you can get. And as a passer, it's a little bit harder to read, and she's usually pretty successful in that.
More traditional look there from Bella Swafford on her serve. Milana. 5 kills already for Gia. I figure most scouting reports, she's maybe at best the 3rd or 4th name, but you have to account for her.
You really do. And she was that key player, that go-to player when she was at Maryland, and then came to Baylor because she wanted higher level volleyball.
So again, Baylor right now 24-1 on the season, 14-1 in conference. A win today would also match those 25 wins that set the program mark back in 1999. Most of these players just have to take our word for it. Presley from the back row. And that one got down.
Yassiana Presley and Alon McCall just throwing punches at each other from the back row. That is the name of both of these players' games and why they're such lethal 6 rotation outside hitters.
Get to see both of them next year as well. As TCU able to take advantage of the aggressive block from Baylor, able to tool it for the point, back within 3. There's the kill from Knowles. Audrey Knowles was your preseason Big 12 selection for co-freshman of the year. Seen so many great newcomers to the league this year, straight out of high school. On the right side and just off the mark, a good idea on the slide from Katie Clark. Just can't pick up the kill. It's coming off that match against Oklahoma where she hit .538.
A very high percentage. We mentioned before she has not always been a middle, but she came from being an outside hitter, and just her fluidity to move into that position so quickly is incredible, and be leading them in kills in it.
And a little savvy decision there from Mackenzie Nichols. Nichols from another Dallas area powerhouse, South Lake Carroll High School. She was a second-team high school All-American. An ace. And the Horned Frogs claimed this second set. Of course, taking any sets from Baylor was unheard of for so much of this year. Baylor's only dropped 11 of 84 sets so far this season. Talking earlier this year to Ryan McGuire about Marika, says she's still growing. I think he meant as a player.
Maybe so. I think she is a player that has really honed in on some of her skills this year and taken her game to the next level and making a big impact on this Baylor team.
Chanel with an ace. Injuries held her back last year as a freshman. Great to see her on the floor this year. McCall. And with all eyes on Presley, they kept it on the near side there with Vandermark. And Marika puts it away. Timeout, Jill Kramer and TCU.
Everyone was talking about Alon McCall. Everybody still is talking about Alon McCall, similar to the Yassiana Presley effect, if you will. But players that's names are going to be called for several years to come.
Shelly Stafford puts that one away. Again, the last 2 years, she's rewritten the record books with hit percentage for a Baylor Bear.
She has. I think Shelly Stafford's career is just about as impressive as any player that's ever come through Baylor, but just her ability to, she hasn't even been healthy the whole way through, and she finds a way to break records. She's a no excuses, go for it kind of player that is set to make history, and she's doing it this season.
Really feel for Baylor Communications Director for Volleyball, Cody Soto, who is just constantly deleting old records, rewriting them on behalf of these women.
A lot of work. Cody Soto is the best at it, though.
Block up front from McGee. As Baylor owning that pin. Able to shut down Knowles.
Side by side with Karen McGee and Marika Vandermark is a block that teams are trying to avoid, but when it's on that outside hitter, that's the only place you can go sometimes.
Hunt trying to keep her service alive. Minyongo will put an end to it.
Six kills for Afida Mignon today. Really has been a go-to player in this match against the #1 team in the nation. Speaks to the trust her team has in her and the future she does have at TCU.
Knowles. Presley gets down. Back to Yoss. One more time. Little roll off the palm.
Yassiana Presley getting smarter and smarter every single set. She says, my shoulder's tired, I'm just gonna outsmart them this time.
She is the top name on the marquee in Waco, but she has a lot of talent around her, and that's how you simply go from being a contender in Big 12 to being the #1 team in the nation. Ryan McGuire's done a fantastic job these 5 years building this program. Of course, his coaching staff, including there you see Jason Williams, but a true family atmosphere, including literal family, with Callie Williams joining them, redshirting this year. This one will carry over for Yassiana. Larkin keeps it alive as Wolf will tap it over. Block from McGee. Free ball for TCU. Baylor survives. You've got both McCall and Presley on the back rows for their respective sides. McCall had her chance. Yassiana took advantage and put it away when she had a chance.
Very smart shot by Yassiana Presley.
All that just to keep her service alive. And she'll get to stay behind the line a little longer. Kara McGee again.
A lot of energy from this Baylor side as they're kind of extending this second set lead to give them a little bit of a vision of what a Big 12 championship might be like.
Kill from Ashley Waggle. And Waggle's seen a little less time with Julia Adams really emerging and has a great presence there on the outside. Back to Swafford to serve. Baylor 5 points away from going up 2-0. Baylor leads this all-time series 16-7, including the last 5 victories. You saw in that graphic earlier, looking for their 3rd straight year, sweeping the Horned Frogs, longtime rivals, even preceding the Big 12. That ball in for the women in purple. TCU trying to snap a 3-game losing skid. Almost did it at home in front of that great crowd against Oklahoma.
I think this is always a fun rivalry between TCU and Baylor just because the programs are similar in a lot of ways, just in the type of university it is, the kind of the type of towns that Fort Worth and Waco are, and always just fun, the proximity of the two teams together and the team's ability to travel.
And a lot of these players, if they haven't played together, they've played against each other at the high school and club level.
Yes.
You see Katie Clark out of Arlington, Texas, Arlington High. And TCU's coming off that 4-setter where the 4th set against Oklahoma, we saw 5 match points survived, 7 set points survived. That 4th set was going to go on all night, 36-34. It would be the most points in a set involving TCU since rally scoring came about. But it was a fun one to watch unfold as they were really fighting for their seniors that night, something Baylor's doing for its 6 seniors here today.
Yeah, great senior class for Baylor this year. We've said a lot of their names, but there's Shelly Stafford, that 5th-year senior, Brea Hunt, a team captain, Gia Milana, the transfer from Maryland. Then we're looking at Nicole Thomas and Hannah Flegel, both incredible leaders for this Baylor program. And then finally Tara Wolf in the libero jersey leading the charge defensively this year.
3rd kill for Clark, and she'll go back to serve. McCall. Again, you could recognize the talent with Alon back in high school. We love that she's able to go up against such great competition in the Big 12. Really brings out the best of the sophomore. And when you talk about the best, #1 team in the nation led by Shelly Stafford, the 5th-year senior.
Again, she picks her shots well, and she's smart with what she's doing. That kill right there makes 7 kills for Shelly Stafford on only 12 attempts.
McCall gets some fingers, sent the net. Baylor 2 points away. Ramschreiber. Marika Vandermark.
.6'5", left-handed, right side hitter. Very, very close to impossible to stop most of the time.
Set point for Baylor. And just like the first set, TCU able to hold off set point the first go-around. Need a safe serve here from your setter, Mackenzie Nichols. Nichols had a double-double against the Bears when they met in Fort Worth earlier this year. Stafford with the punctuation. Baylor is 1 set away from claiming its first ever Big 12 title. 2 sets down, both in the back pocket of the green and gold. Announced for a 4th straight year into the NCAA postseason.
Definitely a senior class that is making marks in the Baylor record books and making marks in Baylor history. Exciting group, great team. Good look at Hannah Flegel and Cole Thomas there. A few others of the Baylor seniors making a big impact on this season.
I was going to say no shortage of senior moments to remember, but I think that's an oxymoron. Start the third set. Bram Schreiber with the serve. Baylor a sweep in Fort Worth. TCU will capture the first point. Remember, this is a Bears team that at one point had 10 straight sweeps. They had only dropped 2 sets all year before going to Austin, with Texas taking 3 sets that night.
I think after that, a lot of people's question was, were they just not used to dropping sets? Were they not used to it? And just Baylor's ability to bounce back from that loss in this second half of conference has proven otherwise.
Gregory Jim deserves a little credit. We talk about all these great atmospheres in the Big 12 here at the Farrell Center with 7,500 strong to see number 1 versus number 3 that night against the Longhorns up at TCU. Sell out every year at home this year. Presley. And Young again with another block. McCall this time teams up with the freshman middle blocker.
A lot of scramble and fight in this TCU team.
And that's an adjustment you can make when you're 6'6". Vandermark had already gone up for the swing, waited for it to come back down to her, still had an angle to the back row. Presley. And Yassiana, you saw the comparison with Micaiah White, and you think just how few sets both those players play this year because their teams can take care of things often in 3. But if you break it down per set, number 2 in the nation, Yassiana, is 5.6 kills per set. And it's just been fantastic. Back inside a packed Farrell Center for this regular season finale for Baylor. Season finale for TCU this year. Baylor took the first 2 sets, 25-19, 25-18. Lincoln Rose, Katie Stager back with you here on Big 12 now. Bram Schreiber keeps it alive, so a teammate can put it away. Kara McGee. And we're back to Stafford to serve. Bram Schreiber did just enough. Presley on the 3rd stroke, able to get it back over.
Big double block by Vandermark and McGee.
And a cross-court shot finds its way home for Alon McCall. Last year, the first ever TCU All-American honorable mention. Here's your Southwest region freshman of the year. Vandermark denied. And Stefano Mignon not backing down to anybody.
Very clean block set well by Alon McCall along with Minyang.
If the Horned Frogs can keep this tight into the late points, Baylor's been able to pull away late and have a cushion. A service error from Nichols. And we'll see Brea Hunt come back in to serve for Vandermark. Mentioned Brea Hunt, 2nd generation Baylor Bear. Dad Melvin played men's basketball here. call from the attack line, but ultimately that afforded Kara McGee time to size her up.
Yeah, McGee did a really good job of fully pressing over that net. Another good look at it there.
An error on Baylor. And that was a tough angle for Julia Adams. TCU won't get any benefit from it, but Adams tracked it down and somehow kept this one playable. But Kara McGee not impressed. Presley with the serve, 10 kills here tonight. A little more McGee, please. And Adams just a little frustrated. Unleashes on that one. He's had 5 straight matches, double-digit kills, including 14 against Oklahoma. And McCall is long as well.
Similar to Baylor's strategy, oftentimes we see how kind of in these crunch moments and these times where it's hard to string points together that they are looking for McCall in the back row. So no surprise there that they were able to find her in middle back.
A nice adjustment from Mafedo. Well, if Yassiana Presley stays behind that service line any longer, she's going to have to start paying property taxes. And this will be a 4-hit violation. And Danny Dennison taking over that libero top for the past 10 matches now. Presley. As the closest Horned Frog there was Jill Kramer. A rare error from number 22.
Locke does a really good job of setting Presley almost in front of the line so she stays within regulation rules, but is able to almost hit a front row tap.
And an ace for the Horned Frogs. Can they go on a run here with Dennison, the junior? She's from a hotbed of beach volleyball over there, Huntington Beach, California. Actually has some teammates with a rich beach background on their resumes. Alana shut down. Presley kept it playable. And Julia Adams thought about it for a moment and lulled everybody else to sleep. Timeout, Baylor. Ryan McGuire wants to talk it over with his Bears. Baylor's lead right now at 2. But TCU has prompted Baylor to call that last timeout. Good communication for Baylor. Milana into the block, shut down by Katie Clark. But ultimately, that'll stay on the TCU side, pardon me. As the Bears' lead grows to 3.
Just into the net there for Katie Clark, and Tara Wolf continues serving for Baylor, trying to extend this lead here in the 3rd set.
Clark just on top of that one. That ball into the tape, not blocked, so the next touch from TCU was a 4-hit violation. The original call, that ball into the tape, not touched by any Baylor blocker. Referees Michael Bernardo and Steve Robb today. Again, Jill Kramer She actually took that West Virginia job when they were in the Big East. Wound up 2 years in the Big East, 3 years in the Big 12 before coming back to her alma mater, TCU. The Horned Frogs season will not include postseason. We last saw them in the postseason in 2017 in the NIVC. Last NCAA tournament run, both 15 and 16. Presley will set Milana. You're Hannah Locken. How do you feel about your job security?
I feel pretty good. If I'm Hannah Locken, and I am a huge reason why this Baylor team's having so much success, I'm pretty excited right now. I'm looking forward to next season as well.
So Yas has not taken over the setting responsibilities there as Baylor bounces back, up by 5 now.
Probably better for Baylor if she stays in her current role.
So we'll just table this 6-2 system for next year. Speaking of your entrenched junior setter, Hannah Locken, 3rd year as a starter at that setter role. Ryan McGuire has national titles at other levels. Of course, he used to be both a men's and a women's coach back in his NAIA days over at Cal Baptist, who has since become Division I. Vandermark.
Left alone there with no block.
And TCU, again, such a great presence at the net. That time, Katie Clark prevails. That ball just into the tape. Berkeley Baker played every set this year. A lot of time as your libero this year for TCU to start the season. A short-lived service. See if Bram Schreiber can help grow this lead for Baylor in a closeout set number 3. On a miscue, but Baylor can't take advantage.
Tough serve, getting the TCU Horned Frogs out of system.
Vandermark. Well, with McCall sucked in on that front row, Marika thought she saw vulnerability along the back.
Kill number 7 today for Marika Vandermark.
I just don't know how you account for all 6 weapons that Baylor has out there on the floor.
Yeah, you really can't, because most teams, when they're creating this game plan, you can effectively key on 1, maybe 2 hitters. And Baylor just at all times really does have 3 people up there that you need to be trying to stop.
TCU with the point off the touch. You saw Locken is 1 dig shy of a double-double tonight. And Alon McCall gets the better of this exchange with Vandermark. Back to the sophomore, denied by Stafford. And Stafford back to serve. His 5th year has been like having an extra coach on the staff for Ryan McGuire. Stafford can't keep that one though alive as TCU back within 5, needs a run right here. Last 3 losses for TCU, swept in Austin, dropped a heartbreaker in 5 sets at home against Texas Tech, and again that battle against Oklahoma coming up short earlier this week. Of course, they cap off their season going up against the #1 team in the nation, the Baylor Bears.
Brea Hunt back to serve, one of the senior captains for this Baylor team, and just a player with an incredible story. Her dream was to come to Baylor because her parents met here, and now she's here playing for the #1 team in the country. I mean, story that doesn't even write itself.
A dig for Brea.
And I think the season as a whole, but big wins against teams like Texas just can change a culture, in that now there's girls on the team who know what it feels like to beat a team like that, and that's the standard that they hold themselves to.
Hunt serves to McCall. They'll set McCall. Vaughn able to tool the block. And Alon wrapping up her sophomore campaign. Wasn't able to get back to being a 6 rotation player until October 24th. Since then, has been averaging about 3.5 kills per set, which is good if you're not Yassiana Presley, who is just making some ridiculous stat lines this year. And a dump there for Hannah Locken.
That is true. It just shows how ridiculous Yassiana Presley's numbers are when you're not as shocked by incredible numbers like that.
Another block for Kara McGee. And this is a great moment for Ryan McGuire, as the players have put him in a position to be able to bring in Hannah Flegel, a walk-on in her senior campaign.
Just the heart and soul of this team, Hannah Flegel is. Hardest worker in the gym, always thinking about other people, and so Ryan McGuire loves getting her out there.
Again, when talking about her, mentioned Hannah has really helped change the culture with her energy in the locker room, in practice.
Definitely, and alongside Hannah, Nicole Thomas just subbing in has been that same type of player. She graduates early this December, and has been such a staple for this Baylor program.
Why would she want to leave early?
That's what I'm wondering.
Nicole Thomas out of Richmond, Virginia, a fiery leader. It is set point, it is match point for the Big 12 championship. Yassiana Presley with the serve. And for the first time in program history, the Baylor Bears are Big 12 champions.